Okay, I'm going to redo that video I did this morning. Then we'll see if we catch a different section of people too. So I hope you guys are all staying cool. It was 100 and, I don't know. My thermometer said 105, but that was on the porch, which is going to be hotter because of the patio and stuff. What you doing, Gigi? What did I do with those? Oh, no? Anyway, so we're going to do these today. Again. I don't know why my camera is so goofy. Oh, I know why. One of the reasons I know why. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. All right, I'm back. Now, let's see. So anyway, I'm going to do, gotta hit my thing here. Okay. All right. So we are going to mess with these again. One of the things that I do is, this is a canning jar lid. You can use a canning jar lid. You can use just cardboard. Anything that you could put a piece of batting on and wrap a piece of fabric around. So what I like to do is I like to do as many on this as I can. I get these when I order my matte photo papers for my decoupaging. I'm hoping to do more lives and stuff. Oh shoot, I don't want to cut with those scissors. Oh, there's a pair. I don't want to cut with my good scissors. Well, they're good for me. Maybe not good for everybody, but they're better for me. They're the ones that I can cut my fabric with. So I usually try to get 11 or 12 off of a 8.5 by 11 piece of cardboard that I get with my stuff. Because when I get my photo mat sheets, I get two. It has one on the front and one on the back of the package. So I save those for patterns or things like this. I think this was 2.5 inches in diameter. The lid was 2.5 inches in diameter. So, come here, Sass. Sassy, where are you? Come here, Sassy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Anyway, so then I've got this that I can glue this onto a piece of batting, cut it around, trim it, and then I will have this. And then I also do that to the lid, but you could do it with 2 pieces of cardboard. I only did it with the lids because I had him sitting here and I'm not using these lids. I don't like these lids from Walmart that come in the Walmart jars. I like the Walmart jars, I just don't like the lids, but I do save the rings because I use those for my canning. So here's one that I've wrapped a piece of fabric around. I was trying to think of if I have. Oh, here I have something. So you could use a lot of stuff to make these snowmen. You can use muslin. You can use painter's tarp, which is what this is. You can use, I'm using music fabric. I'm also using a text fabric. You could do, you know, a stripe on the back and a solid on the front. It's whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to go ahead, decide which side I want to use. And I'm going to go ahead and glue. I was supposed to get my glue sticks today because I'm running kind of low. And then I just pull it. I like to do a square and not cut out a round circle for the fabric because it's quicker to do a square. You're going to use that anyway, so you're going to lose that part anyway, although I did cut this one a little big. But I can cut several squares in a cutting versus, you know, having to cut circles out. So for me, it's just a time versus money kind of thing. I got this a little bit too much. I could cut it a little smaller. When I was doing my Victorian potpourri lace pieces back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, I would cut out hearts, glue them on batting, and put them together until a friend of mine, her husband worked for a printing shop, and they also did die cutting. And so they created a die for the shapes that I needed, and they cut them out of cardboard for me. And so I would order them that way, and that saved me so much time. And it was actually a better investment in the money because the time it saved me was crucial. Because I was selling thousands of hearts. I was wholesaling, selling to Rayleigh's, Long's, Macy's, JCPenney's, Albertsons, Safeway, all kinds of stores when I was wholesaling. Get burnt out though pretty quick. So what I'm doing is I'm just gluing my edges together, and I'm not going to worry about having it be perfect because we're going to cover this up. You got to be careful too when that glue squeezes out that you don't hurt yourself. Hey, sassy girl. The one puppy I kept she's kind of independent. And then we got Gigi. Yes, you got pretty little Gigi. And we got Tigger. Tigger's a pretty loving boy. So then what I'm going to do is, because this is the music fabric, is I'm going to do my cheeks. And I'm just using rouge. Just, you know, a cheap rouge from Dollar Tree works really well. And so because I'm right-handed, I can't remember where I learned this from. I'll see if I can't get this to get a little closer maybe. I don't know why it's so far away. I'm going to have to figure out somehow to be able to either use a smaller table or figure out some way to get closer. Anyway, so they said that if you're right-handed, you start your cheeks on the left, and if you're left-handed, you start your cheeks on the right, and that allows them to be even. So what I'm going to do is I want to do this lower because I'm going to put my hat right about here, and I still have to put my eyes and nose in. So I'm going to do my cheeks, and I do this before I put the whatever I'm going to put around the edging. And then they're pretty straight. So now I'm going to put my nose on. And I just use, any of you that have been with me for a while know, I just use house paint. I buy mine by the gallon because we do so much. So I'm going to go make my little nose. And I will probably go back over this again once it dries, so that I could get a little bit heavier coat. This one here is already dry, so I'm going to go ahead and use that one. So while that one's drying, oh good, I did not get it on. I did not get the paint on there. While that one's drying, I am going to use my yarn. Now you can use whatever yarn you want. You don't have to use this kind of yarn. You can use whatever works good for you. So I'm going to start at the top. So here's my nose, my cheeks. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to string this around. You could use a cool glue gun if you don't want to burn yourself. Sometimes it works pretty good. For this, it's okay. Some things you really do need the hot glue gun for, but not this. Okay. Now I got my piece up here, all done. Set my yarn away. Hi Janet, let me know where you're watching from. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay my hat out. Now, when I cut these, I cut them just a little bit wide, so I'm probably going to go ahead and rip a piece of fabric off of that. And I'll save it because, you know, we do a lot of rag bows around here, so I'm just going to rip a piece of fabric off of that. That's the nice thing about this, is that you can rip it and it you know, works great. This is a tea-dyed fabric. I tea-dyed it. So this is 6 1/4 by 5. And it might be a little tall, but we're going to go ahead and leave it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my fabric over. I'm going to try to set it where I think I want it on the front. And I'm going to try to make it as even as I can. I'm going to leave room for my eyes. And I'm going to try to make it so that each side has about the same amount of material on each side, because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this in the front. I've had this glue, I have a glue gun holder here. I saw somebody not too long ago. I guess they got a patent for it. I've had this glue gun holder since 1987. I bought it from an older guy at a craft show I was at. Don't remember how much I paid for it. Not a lot, I'm sure. And he was making them and selling them. So I saw that and I thought, yeah, that's not your idea. That's somebody else's idea. Anyway, so now I have my hat. Looks like a chef's hat. Might be a little tall, but you know, we're going to leave it. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and on the backs, no, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my eyes. South Carolina. I hope you guys are having good weather. It was 100, I think it was 102 here in Central Texas today. Yeah, I like the yarn. I do like the yarn. I was trying to figure out what I was going to use. You could use a strip of fabric. You wouldn't even have to use yarn. If you wanted to take this, and if you have have, you know, if you're using the jar rings and then you have, or excuse me, the lids, and you have rings and you're not using them, or they're rusty and you really can't use them and everything, you could go ahead and spray paint them, and then you could go ahead and put that ring inside here. Let me see. I just need my rings for my canning. Because we have our food handler's certificate, and so we sell fresh okra and tomatoes and peppers and things like that. But we also pickle okra and pickle beets. We do jams and jellies. So you could, if you wanted to, and you didn't want to go to the work of putting a back on it and doing everything else, you could just go ahead and stick it in there like that. You could spray paint this if you wanted to, and then you would go ahead and you would do your face, and of course glue this in and do your face and all that, and then you could put a hat on it if you wanted, or you didn't have to. That's up to you. You could do twine around the outside. I just had this yarn and I thought, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and use it. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do 3 rows of yarn around here for a brim anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my eyes on. Now, you can do paint. I did have an orange paint pen. It's a Posca pen. Posca. I did not like how it did the nose. It did the nose okay, but it wasn't dark enough, and then you have to go over it and over it and over it again. So I use house paint. So that's what I used on my noses. It works better for me, but you could use a paint pen. I am going to use a paint pen for the eyes because this is a zig marker. I like zig. I've used zig since the 80s, 90s, since the 90s, excuse me. I've used zig since the 90s. They're a little harder for me to get. I used to be able to get them off really cheap, but I haven't been able to get as easy. But these I got off Amazon. So they were, and this is one I haven't had before. Normally I would have something like this. Well, this is a zig marker. This is probably 10 years old. But this is a zig marker. I love these from Woodcraft. And I use them a lot. The Posca or Posca, whatever those are, they, for me, tend to spit paint when I'm using them on stuff. And then all of a sudden, if they catch on something, it just spits a bit of paint out. And that, to me, is, I've never had that with a zig marker. So this has 2 ends. It has a fatter end, and then it has a liner end. I use the liner end. I was trying to find something for my eyelashes, and I was using the liner end for that because I'm not as good about painting eyelashes with paint, so I just got that. So here we go. We're going to do our eyes right here, just a little oval. Now, after I get my hat done, there's my eyes. After I get my brim done on my hat, then I'll go back and I'll see if I have room for for eyebrows. And these will go pretty quickly. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I mean, if you're going to make them in bulk, of course, you would, you know, of course, cut all your circles out and then do this and that and everything else. All right, but there I did a little mouth. I usually do some kind of an open mouth kind of thing. There. Oh, you know what? We're going to do some lines here for the carrots. I got some in the refrigerator that look like this. They got little hairs growing on them. I don't know why I do them on the top. I'm going to cover that with white anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to take my yarn again. And I can't remember where I got this yarn. It might have been Michael's. It might have been, I don't think it was Hobby Lobby. I'm pretty sure I probably ordered it from Michael's or something. So I'm going to start at the back. I'm going to start right where the edge of my fabric is. See right there? Put a little bit of glue down, lay my fuzzy yarn across there. I'm going to come around, wrap it, tack, burn my finger, around again, tack, then come around one more time, and then I will tack it, clip it and tack it there. And then I can bunch it, especially on the front. All right. And then I'll take my marker here. Oops, wrong side. Do a little eyebrow. Okay. Now, one of the things that I didn't get to do, because I tea-dyed a bunch of stuff, but I didn't tea-dye any of my red string, so I took my dark wax and I dark waxed it a little bit. So this morning when I did this, I had a little piece. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tie my hat off with this red stripe. You can use twine. And I'm just going to tie it off because I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put a bow on it. I'm going to tie it kind of short. Tie it in a knot. Trim it. Now what I can do on the back side is I can take a piece like this. I can run it through the back of that. See, right there? And that gives me a tie for an ornament. Just tie that knot on like that. And then I'll just tack it here. I'll tack this piece too. Now you could go ahead and you could cut that if you wanted. You could cut it off a little bit. You could, cut it into fringe pieces if you wanted to. I'm just going to do it like this. If I want to do that if I want to change it later, I can. So there, I've got a hanger already for this. And I'm going to tack this down here also. There. Now, I've got my piece here like this. So I'm going to leave that like that for the moment. I'm going to tack it down a little bit. Okay. We're going to go back to the face. Okay. We have been hot like you, but going to cool down to the low 90s. The breeze. It's supposed to be in the lower 90s on Sunday. A cool front's supposed to come through. We haven't gotten any of the rains they've gotten up north, and we really need rain bad. My okra is tired of tap water. Okay. So the only thing I have left to do on this, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decorate my hat and everything, because the last thing I have to do is put the snow and all that on, and I don't want to be doing the decorations here and get my hand in the face where the snow was going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and do my decorations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little piece berry, which I get at Hobby Lobby on their berries. When they have them on sale, I buy a bunch because I use them on a lot of things. We do the fabric trees. We sell a lot of fabric trees, which I have to see if I have that video on YouTube or not. I don't have a lot of videos on YouTube yet, but I do have some. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a bow, just a simple little bow. I don't have any extra string, so I'm just going to, I didn't do this on the earlier ones, but I am going to do it on this one, but I probably could slip a bow in there if I wanted to. Okay. All right, there's that. Got my bow tied. I got my pieces here. I need a little bit of greenery. I use a lot of this particular garland that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm just going to take a piece. I'm just going to put one here, one here. It's just a simple little decoration, just for something. And then I have this stuff I got. I got this, I think it was a curtain panel. And it's wonderful to use for different things because it has such a very interesting texture look to it. So I'm just going to take a little piece of this. I've also used cheesecloth, which I dyed a bunch of it the other day. Tea-dyed cheesecloth. That's very popular for me to use. So I'm just going to take this. I'm just going to scrunch it in the middle. And stick it in the middle of my pine greenery. Then I'm going to take my bow, stick it in there. Now you could do all kinds of decorations. It doesn't matter. You could do, pine cones if you wanted to. You don't have to do bows. I just like to do bows. Don't know, I'm in a bow fetish right now. Well, have been for a while. So now I've got that. Then I'm going to put a little bit of greenery, or excuse me, a little bread bead on top, and a little jingle bell. And he's got his little, and I'll probably glitter them. I have several I'm going to be doing. I probably got about 80 or more that I'm going to do at least. We have a craft show coming up in September, and we sell more Christmas than we do fall. So and Christmas is my favorite, so there it is. So now I'm going to do my white. Normally I use house paint, but I found this on my shelf and I thought, well, I probably should use it up. Now, like I said, you don't have to use, I use a canning lid for the front. You don't have to use a canning lid. You could use it for a pattern and then just do a circles. You could do the bigger canning lids. I just don't have any wide mouth canning lids that I'm not using. So, all right, so I'm going to do highlights on my eyes. And then I always like to do 3 little dots on my cheeks. And then I'm going to do the snow on the nose, and then I'll do the dots on the other cheek. Otherwise, my hand's going to get in it. So I'm just going to do kind of a pouncing back and forth. So it kind of looks like it's, And then we're just going to go to the end. If I think I have to go back in and do a little more, I'll just go back in a little heavier. Because we'll set this off to dry. Okay. And then I will do three, I'll do 3 little dots over here. And then, other than glitter, I think he's done. And you could even do these as gingerbread. Santas, I might mess around with a Santa. I sold so many Santa heads last year. I did them out of the tags that you get at Hobby Lobby. And I have to see what videos I have on YouTube. I don't have a lot on there, but I will try to upload my lives on there so it saves there, because they delete the lives after 30 days. But there's that. There's that. Like I said, I'll probably glitter him. And we'll go from there. So that's that one. Yeah, I think his face is pretty cute. Like I said, let me tilt this back up so you can see me. Tigger must be seeing a bird. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think they're pretty cute. I mean, I'll have to see if I have the Santa on my YouTube, because I did a Santa. I don't have any left. I sold them all. But I used the 2.5-inch tags at Hobby Lobby. And what I did with the Santa was... excuse me, I used the tag shape itself for the hat part, and then I did, of course, yarn around for the brim, and then I had yarn that I did, and I don't have any right in front of me right now, but I had yarn that had some sparkly in it, and I had some that didn't. And I wrapped it around my finger several times, and then tied it in the middle, and then clipped the bow, the overlapping end parts, so that it created a beard. And I did that, and then I did a less wrapped yarn for the mustache. And then along the edge of the tag, I put the yarn for the sideburns, and a little furniture button for the nose. And of course, I painted a very simple face. And so I will try to, if I don't have that on my YouTube channel, I will try to do another video on that. I did an Uncle Sam one too, but I didn't do a video on that, and I did not even put them on my Facebook page. I think I might have put a picture, but I don't know that I put the finished ones on there. Let's see, and then we did, what else did we do? Oh, I did a reindeer with the tags. The tags are very interesting because you can't, like they have them in black, and the black has a little bit of a, more of a scroll top to it, or scalloped top to it, and that's the ones that I use for the Santa. But you can also use the ones that have the tag look, and then they have them in white. I did Snowman in white. I did the Santa. And I painted his hat red, but on some of the batches that I did later, I actually used fabric, and I might just go that direction. And then they have a tannish brown one, and that's the one I used for the reindeer head. So, and I did do lives on that, but like I said, I don't know if I did. Hi, Melinda. Hey, I hope you have a good show. Yes, Janet, I will try to do a live on that. Oops. Stop. I hope you have a good show. Let me know how it goes. You know I love Sammy shows. Melinda sells zebra, and she's doing a show that's south of me that we do in the fall, and we do the March show in the winter, called Sammy Show, and it is at the Huntington Bank Center. They just changed the name from Cadence Bank Center, and it is a really good show. There's some great vendors there. And they have a really good customer following. They're very good promoters. We love Sammy shows. As I was telling you earlier in when we were chatting, what was it, a couple days ago, I think I'm going to book the 2 November ones. October is not a great month for me, and this way, if I do September and then I do the 2 Novembers, I can really get prepped for the Christmas, because we sold so much Christmas last year there. Even in September, we sold as much Christmas as we did fall, and I think maybe even a little more of it than that. So, but when I did my Santas, I did my snowmen out of the tags, and I did the reindeer, and then I did some spindle snowmen, spindle angels. Those did not sell as well. And then we did, of course, candy canes. Those sold really well. I did some little 3-stack cinnamon sticks, like a stack of, like wood out of cinnamon sticks, and then wrapped them and did a little decoration on top. I sold those pretty well. What else did we sell in that? Ornaments. And I had some other ornaments that I had that I put in, because we did a 3 for $9 thing. I think I'm going to go this year at $4 each or 3 for $10. I think that's what I'm going to do with my ornaments this year. So not much of a price increase, but just a little bit, because everything's gone up and it's getting more expensive. Shows are getting more expensive. So, but yeah. So I'll try to do a Santa. If you like and follow our page, then hopefully you'll get a notification when we go live. I will try to be better about scheduling. We'll see what happens. We're gonna puppy sit for 12 days for somebody who bought my little male puppy. They don't trust anybody else to watch him, and he is a cutie. All those puppies were so cute. They were such sweethearts. We just got through babysitting the one that we gave to my son, and I told him I was going to keep him, but he took him anyway, because he was such a sweetie pie. I mean, Sassy's sassy. She is. She is very sassy. But so many of those puppies are so cute. So anyway, that's what I got. I love him. I think he's adorable. I think he would make a cute Santa. Because I could do that, like I did on the, let's see, this is a text fabric. And then, let's see, what is it? This is music fabric. And then this one is just canvas fabric. So we have canvas fabric, or you can use a muslin, or any kind of a fabric. You could use white. You could even use a sheet. Like a sheet. Sometimes sheets you can get sheets at the store. Sometimes pretty reasonable, and they go a long way for being able to use them in your craft stuff. So, all right. Well, I'm going to get off here. It looks like Matt's going out to pick okra. We've been selling out our okra every day. He goes out and it's starting to produce a lot less. We were getting 15 to 24 pounds a day for almost a week. And then it has dropped down to 3 to 5 pounds a day now, because the ants are stripping it, and we haven't gotten any rain, so we're watering, but watering isn't as good as rain. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I will try to sit down and put together some lives of these little ornaments that anybody can make, and you can make them with, even if you don't have, like I said, I use canning lids. You don't have to use canning lids. You can use cardboard, even an old cardboard box, because if you just put, even if you don't have batting, you could use an old, it's best to put something on it, but you could just use an old blanket, a thinner blanket, or sometimes those throws, if they're a solid color, are pretty cheap at Walmart at Christmas time. You could just cut that and use that. I've used those several times for different things. Anything. You could even use polyfill out of a pillow. Just put a little bit of polyfill on it. It'll be a little puffier, but that would be cute too. And then of the tags from Walmart, or not Walmart, from Hobby Lobby. Those make great Christmas ornaments that you can do a face on. If I did do a penguin for my sister's daughter, because my niece, because she went to Antarctica and saw the penguins and fell in love with them. I guess it was really smelly, but they were really adorable. So I did make a penguin for her and sent some ornaments up to my sister for Christmas. And I should see if I still have a picture of that. I should probably do some penguins, although I don't sell penguins quite as well. What else? And for the like the beard, you know, you could use some fuzzy material, or you could use raffia, or you could use twine and unwrap it. I mean, just all kinds of things that you can use to make, you know, the things. You could, if you don't have, if you can't get to Hobby Lobby and buy the tags or whatever, you can cut those out of cardboard too, and just cut out a tag shape or whatever shape you want. Make your ornaments out of it. I do love these. I had all these canning lids that I wasn't going to use because I don't like the Walmart lids. I like ball lids, and because the Walmart lids I've used them and I've had some fails, so I just said I'm not using them anymore. But I like their jars, as I said earlier. So I had all these lids. I thought, what can I do with them? Well, I'll just make them into snowmen. That way I'm using up stuff I've got, and they're cute. So you guys have a good weekend. I don't think I'll get on here tomorrow, but you never know. We'll see how things go. And I will talk with you soon. Thank you for coming in. Bye-bye.